Good morning, all. Welcome to the NGO Development Series. It's a pleasure to be welcoming you all. We already have 47 participants, and so we will begin in earnest. Welcome, everyone. Let me first of all send in regards and apologies from Mr. Oyebisi Oluseyi, the Executive Director of Nigeria Network of NGOs, who usually moderates the sessions and was originally scheduled to moderate today's as well. However, he's unavoidably absent, and he has sent me to give his apologies and also deliver his regards to you all. It's a pleasure to be moderating today. We have some interesting topics that we will be looking at today with two experts in the room. Today, we'll be looking at designing, delivering high-impact solutions, digitalizing your NGO space, and embracing tech for social impact. The NGO Development Series is hosted by Sterling One Foundation in partnership with the Nigerian Network of NGOs. And this program does not only seek to strengthen NGOs, but also enables their sustainability and positioning as legitimate implementing partners at the local and national levels. This NGO series aims to build strong operating systems that enable NGOs take on the project and intervention in a holistic manner. I'm excited to be welcoming you all. And let's begin in earnest by taking some welcome remarks by the CEO of Sterling One Foundation, Madam Olakweju Ibekwe. Madam, are you ready for us?
Yes, I am. Thank you so much, Oyindamola. A very good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, depending on where you're joining us from across the globe. You are welcome to the first NGO Development Series hosted by Sterling One Foundation, happening here virtually. I want to appreciate all the 67 guests that have joined us from across the globe. At the Sterling One Foundation, we have prioritized capacity building for the nonprofit ecosystem to aid better effectiveness and efficiency in the delivery of these highly valuable solutions across the critical sectors as we seek together to accelerate the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. We are glad to be partnering with the Nigerian Network of NGOs that has over 3,000 NGOs registered from across the country, Nigeria. And we're also glad to also welcome our participants that join us from across Africa and the globe. I recall that last year we had participation from over 40 countries during this NGO Development Series. And we are glad to kickstart the year on this very high note on talking about specifically designing and delivering high impact solutions and how we can all digitalize our NGO spaces for better impact. We're glad to welcome you. And I assure you, and I am also looking to learning a lot today. I am so glad to welcome our speakers, Madam Audrey from Microsoft Philanthropies. Audrey, you're welcome. Thank you for joining us. And I'm also welcoming Abdul Salam. Audrey, yes, I know you wanted to respond to my greeting.
All right, thank you. Good morning. Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you, Audrey. And also Abdul Salam will be joining us very soon. So this is just to welcome you all. I'm currently now handing over to Oyindamola to get the ball rolling. Thank you, Oyindamola.
Thank you, Madam Ibekwe. So let's dive straight into the first session. We have Audrey already set to take us into the first session. She will be looking at digitalizing your NGO space, embracing tech for social impact. And Audrey is, like Madam Ibekwe said, she's a social development and sustainability professional with nonprofits and development programs across Nigeria and Africa. She currently works with Microsoft as the philanthropist lead, covering Nigeria and Ghana. She drives digital scaling across Nigeria to build a tech-enabled workforce and talent pool in Nigeria for the 21st century workplace. Welcome, Audrey. It's lovely to have you here taking this session. She will be doing a lot to look at an overview of various Microsoft nonprofit offerings, unmatched scalability opportunities for optimal performance, benefits of data-driven intelligence, analytics tools available in nonprofits and in Microsoft, apologies, and a lot more. Audrey, you have the floor for the next 20 minutes, and we're excited to hear from you.
All right, thank you very much, Damola. Thank you very much, Olapeju, and the SOF team, as well as the NNGO team. 20 minutes is a short time, so I'll try to run through what I have. Hopefully you're inspired and sparked to start your digitalization at your nonprofit, no matter how small or big you are, or even as an individual trying to make impact in our society. So just give me a minute so that I can share my screen with you. Okay, so please let me know if you can see my screen. And I can kick off. Am I good?
Yes, we can see your screen very clearly.
All right,
Please
thank you very much. So I am going to be taking you through a lot of offerings at Microsoft. Of course, these resources, I can dare to say that they're quite unlimited. But you know, we're in an age where technology can no longer be denied. No matter the great work you're doing as a nonprofit or an individual who wants to make impact, you can't do it without technology. So with this, I'm excited about this topic, provided by the two partners, designing and delivering high impact solution and digitalizing your NGO space, embracing tech for social impact. And I know this is a topic or a phrase that have been used at least perhaps since the COVID pandemic, where everybody had no choice but to rely on technology, either high code, low code, either way, and to do the work that we do. I'll first take you through a journey of why we do what we do, and that will make you understand the opportunity that is there for you as a nonprofit, because I know a lot of us are driven by, oh, we want to raise funds, we're looking for the right talent. You know, there's always a lot of things nonprofits are looking for. We never have enough. And the truth is that we don't always have enough. So at Microsoft, our mission is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more, simply put. But at Philanthropies, in the department where I work with, our mission is to empower nonprofits and communities to realize the potential of technology. By default, by associating yourself with our products, our services, and with the work that we do, for one way or the other, you are going to be using technology to increase the potential of what you can do and the efficient way of which you work, whether you realize it or not. But that is what happens. And usually that's what happens with a lot of the nonprofit partners we work with, who across the globe implement projects on our behalf, but also work with other nonprofits to make sure we reach those who are really in need and that are marginalized. Now, at Microsoft, we have what we call the Tech for Social Impact. And what it means is that we design technology just specific and uniquely for nonprofits or development organizations. And we know that because of the limited fund and resources, you cannot necessarily get some of the tools that you need to do the work at the same rate the profit organizations are doing it. So we have a department solely dedicated to solving the problems and the challenges of nonprofits, big or small, but also aiding the work that you do. And it's simply put as to Tech for Social Impact. And as you can see, the mission here is to empower every nonprofit, international development organization with Microsoft technology to accelerate social impact. So we know that, of course, and in the work that we do, you can't deny the fact that we need help. It's not just about how much effort and power or physical energy you put in anymore. We need support. We need technology, either in any form of device or software application or things like AI. And because the world is changing so fast, you cannot also be on a standstill. So it's important that you move as the world is moving, and it's important that you understand the value and how to begin that journey. But then, you know, when we talk about the world is changing, the pace of change is raising challenges and intensifying, you know, exiting inequities. And in doing that, it means that you have to be at the forefront of everything you're doing. And in doing that, we also make sure that people also have access to economic opportunity, which is all that we do at nonprofit sector. Because when you improve life, it means that people can now get the things that they deserve, basic human rights, address the challenges of climate crisis and climate change, then also increase the trust in technology, which is why we're really here, to understand that technology is needed. You can trust it based on how you use it, but you cannot begin to use it if you don't understand how to begin your journey, your digitalization journey as a nonprofit. And of course, a message from our leader, you know, at a time where many are calling attention like this, the role technology has to play in society, our mission remains constant. So however you do and whatever your challenge is, your thematic areas, it doesn't change, but technology is here to enable you. And it's a journey to begin. It doesn't just happen overnight. What are the offerings that we have to offer? We have what we call, you know, there are different aspects that comes with our technology in there. So volunteer support, Microsoft employees and engagement program are resources that you can use to actually begin your journey. But how do you start this? You have to get what we call the Microsoft for Nonprofits tool. So it's actually a grant that is accessible to all nonprofits globally. So the resources that we're bringing to you here in Nigeria is also the same we offer anywhere in the world. And to do that, you just simply need to be verified. And once you are verified and you meet the criteria of which one of them is you just need to have a CAC. Once that is done, you have access to some of these things that are here. So volunteer support, what does that mean? That gives you access to Beneviti. If you look at the third point there, Beneviti is a third-party partner to Microsoft, and not just Microsoft, but to other technology organizations who want to give their resources and their tools to nonprofits to create impact. But then it kind of consolidates, you know, all those resources in one platform, and Microsoft is one of them in there. And when you get verified, it means that you can have access to fundraising. People can see what it is you're doing. And when you're saying fundraising, is not in Naira, because any technology organization that is global, you know that definitely going to be paying in hard currency. So that is also there. Volunteer support. All these organizations that have their platform on Beneviti, it means that they want to also find a way for their employees to keep engaging and to give their time to causes that are unique to them, that are special to them, or they feel that they can contribute to change one way or another. And that cannot be done without you. But technology is now the bridge between how people want to engage with you, and maybe not even directly like it used to be anymore. So you need to use technology to actually access and utilize all these resources that are available for you. And employee talents and expertise are resources. They are non-monetary resources that you can take advantage of. Now, in doing that, just a little bit of secret, because I can't tell all of them here, but I'm just going to drop a bit of nugget into all this. When volunteers or employees of these tech organizations volunteer and support you or volunteer with you through Beneviti, it means that for every hour they spend with you, you get paid $25. For every hour, $25. So it means that your volunteer management, your volunteer strategy has to be up to par in a way that these people can find you on Beneviti and then show interest to say, I want to volunteer with you. I want to support with you. I want to support you. There's also the fundraising within these organizations as well, including Microsoft, whereby when they volunteer, they can also fundraise directly for your cause. Now depends on how well do you set up your page. Very similar to what, you know, Giving.ng does of Sterling One Foundation. How do you set up your product or your services or the cause that you need funds for? And for every dollar that any of these employees donate to you, their organization tend to match it for you. So these are two direct fundraising opportunity that is on this platform. Then nonprofit capacity building. It means that we also train nonprofits. There's skilling in there. I think this is something that Sterling One Foundation is excited about to bring to you, audience of members of Sterling One Foundation network, where you have access to interact with our implementing partners to train you on different levels of content and courses that I will go through. And then also access to use our tools. One of them is the Office 365. Your OneDrive, how do you work online? How do you collaborate online? How do you put data inside and interpret it? We have Power BI, we have analytic tools. There's a lot of tools that you could use to put in your data and then analyze your data. A lot of nonprofit, no matter how small, we collect data a lot, but we don't even know how to interpret it. We don't know how to tell our stories with data. This is what technology can do for you with a click. And then you have your volunteer management. I've talked about that. There's a special tool that helps you manage your volunteers instead of manually calling them, but you can put them into the system, put a reminder in there, track their hours that they are giving you, be able to reward them and thank them at due time, not when it's too late or when you need them again. And I've talked about fundraising. Now, on skilling aspect, you cannot do technology without acquiring the skills. And I think that's some of the things that set us back in the sector, where yes, you know the value of these tools, but you don't even know where to begin. So this platform also offers you skilling opportunities, content that have been curated just for nonprofit. And you can start this journey as an individual or as an organization, ensuring that your employees actually take 1 or 2 courses. Is it once every month? Is it every quarter? So that journey of digitalization, while you are taking on your grant tool and installing on the software that you need, is going on at the same time. And this is really important. So we have skilling programs that you can also benefit from or tag into, but also skilling programs that you can use for your own programs. If you're one of those people who offer trainings and do capacity building, entrepreneurship training, career development, these are tools and offerings that you can use. There are over 4,000 content on our platform that you can use and more, because a lot of content come in and we create based on the demands we see in the market by employers and the skill that job seekers or people who want to upskill within their career need to have to continue to advance, so that their lives continue to be improved. They can contribute higher to their household, their community, and socio-economic development. Training of the trainers is also available. If you're one of those organizations who deploy training and train communities, we can build your capacity as a trainer or your organization, and then you can go on in a more sustainable way while using the content to run your. So you don't need to design content from scratch. Everything is there for you. And of course, capacity building will need the skilling ecosystem. If this model I've just showed to you, it can be multiplied between all of you that are on this call, like see over 100 persons on this call. I want to believe that each of you are from one nonprofit or a different entity. 100 organizations going to train more people with the same content. Trust me, the ecosystem of skilling will be unified, and there's a lot more we could do. You could save time, save cost as well, because these contents are there for your use. Now, these are some of the priority contents that we believe as a global tech organization that everyone needs to know about. And what does that mean? It means that AI is here to support us. With AI, you can actually save time, do work more efficiently. And if you do use tools that are ethically designed, which means responsible AI, principles of responsible AI has been applied, then everything actually should go more efficient for you. And the more you learn to use these tools and get these skills, the more you can do your work and also tie yourself within the ecosystem, not just locking yourself within the social sector, but how do you engage with other industries and sector, providing value in a way that they can also support you. You can attract more funding, more donations, more manpower as well. Sustainability skills is also very important. Now, when we talk of sustainability, our sector was one of those that have been preaching sustainability. But in this case, how do you bring sustainability into tech? How are you introducing people into sustainability? Some of you do great work, especially Sterling One Foundation, on educating people about the SDG goals, reminding people that our time is running out. That 2030 goal was so close to it, but how close are we? Are we going backward? Are we going forward? Or what mechanism are we doing to accelerate the fact that we meet all the targets within the SDG goals? Sustainability is important. And all this, you can start from foundational level and then in advance. Now, while I am emphasizing these 3 courses is because this is based on what is important globally. Now, if everybody is adding sustainability into their programs as a student, as a business, as an employee, in everything that you're doing, it means that by default, the ripple effect of applying sustainability or working with SDGs or aligning with the ESG framework, even if you're a private organization or trying to offer value to a private organization to support you, we're all more aligned and working together towards that big goal. And then cybersecurity. highly important. I think WACSI released a research around, the cybersecurity threat on nonprofits, because a lot of nonprofits are collecting so much data and they're not protecting it. And maybe you're not even collecting data ethically. That's something we need to talk about. But the people that we train, we want to get SMEs to be digitized, entrepreneurs, students, young graduates. Are we teaching them how to protect themselves, how to identify fraud cases, how to identify fake news, how to identify fraudulent emails, all these simple things? For instance, your WhatsApp, right? There's a lot of people who say, oh, I've been hacked. 2 verification codes has been there. Recently, I think on Forbes, it was just released that some of the people that have been using 2 verification codes but using SMS modes have been hacked, and all their information is out there on most social media platforms. So you need to educate people on how to protect, and within your organization as well. How are you protecting your data, your information? Because data is the new currency, and we know that if you're able to put in technology and then transform it into the currency in which you're using to fundraise or support or get partners, I think we can all go a long way in making impact in a more efficient and within a short period of time. Within the Microsoft for Nonprofits tool, these are some of the things that you can benefit from. I mentioned volunteer management, which use the Power App tool to actually visualize and show you in a nutshell what that looks like. There's not a lot of time, but I'm sure there will be more time that I'm sure Sterling One Foundation will work in a way to take it to the next level. But this is just to expose you to a lot of resources that you can take advantage of. And Power App, these are also courses that are within the offerings that are available for you to learn this skill, so that by the time you get these tools or these tool grants, you can now use this tool in a way that it makes it more efficient for you. So there's volunteer management, there's volunteer engagement within that platform, and there's community training. This community training is what we use all over the world, and it's now made accessible through the nonprofit tool grants, whereby you can now deliver courses online, track content, see people that are learning, especially if it's self-paced. Have they completed? Have they generated their certificates? The community training is a platform that is customizable, is mobile optimized, and it is a skilling platform that enables nonprofit organizations to deliver personalized training. And you can put third-party content on this platform to also deliver your training as well. So this is an example of what it looks like, the platform. And you can put in courses, people can engage. If you look on the small tablet, you see the different courses in there. And you can actually take it to any level. And this is hosted on Azure, which is our cloud, right? What are the trainings that are available for you? Now, there's enterprise skilling for initiative, there's Microsoft Learn, there's Microsoft Virtual Training Days. All these are resources that you can use to begin your digitalization journey. There's Microsoft Digital Skills Center for nonprofits as well. And this is in collaboration between TechSoup and Microsoft, where we're offering different training opportunities so that you can begin this journey. Then Microsoft Cloud for Nonprofits, I've talked about that as well. The Tech Impact Nonprofit Technology Learning Center, that's also available. And on-demand training based on real-time demand and skills. If the private sector is saying that a particular skill is needed in the sector, that does not exclude the nonprofit sector. So it means that we need to continuously learn how to upskill and educate ourselves so that we can better take advantage of technology. Now, this is an example of what it might look like on TechSoup. You can see there are different ways in which you can actually deliver this program, either by instructor-led, self-paced, on-demand, everything hosted online. And it means you can deliver it at any format you want, depending on who your audiences are. And I think that's important. If you are on this call and you're connected, it means that you have the leverage to actually still connect with people, run trainings online, reach the right people that you need to reach. And if there are people who are limited or marginalized by data, device, and power, it means you can still deliver using the same content to deliver on physical trainings. Please let me know how I'm doing on time. I'm trying to run through this as much as possible. So now, why is scaling important to Microsoft?
Good. 5 minutes more.
All right. Why is scaling important to us at Microsoft? Because as we know, there's nothing else we can do without technology. Even the tomato seller, the madam on the street, everybody is trying to go digital. Everybody wants to have an app. So it means that the average man in our society needs to understand how to use an application one way or another. And for us, what that means is that we need to ensure that people are digitally skilled to be able to operate in a digital or AI-enabled economy. And that's where we're going to. And in doing that, empowering nonprofit for us and entrepreneurs and organizations, it means we can address those challenges that are there. So look at yourself as if you don't need technology or you don't need advanced that. No, at least Microsoft is here to get you to kickstart that level where you can now grow and begin digitalization journey. So now, what are the tools, where would you find, some of our contents and our tools for you to begin that journey? You could do that. What does our content really look like online? Pardon me. Okay, so I spoke about skills, cybersecurity, and this. We're in partnership with the federal government where we have curated courses, and this is just beyond, this is nationwide, right? And some of our platform, you find courses on Microsoft Learn. LinkedIn is owned by Microsoft, and I know not a lot of people know that. So that is where a lot of our data comes in from, and where we design courses that we believe should prepare people for opportunities so that they can earn more. So these are platforms. We also have third-party partners. So for instance, if you have invested so well in creating a content, you have an LMS platform or things like that, we also try to push it to our entire audience so that they can benefit on it. The thing with Microsoft is that we stick to what we know, which is skilling and using technology, and anything beyond that, we respect other people to also come on board and to see how that can work with. But why am I mentioning this to you? You remember the Microsoft training platform, the community training platform. If you have courses that you've designed, you can digitize them, put them on that platform, and then even scale. So there's a lot of opportunity within all the investment that we've done over time. Now, how do you begin your digitalization journey, especially on the scaling part? There's a lot of courses that you can start that journey with. From appreciation, I know many of you who do scaling and digital training, this is not strange to you. But then all these courses are also digitized and they are online in where that you can get them and are constantly updated. So I'm just going to run through this, and this is sub models that you will find on the journey of people who are taking that journey. So another thing I like to also, when I'm mentioning this, it may look like, oh, this is good for your beneficiary. We're always thinking of our beneficiaries, our partners, and all those things. But how do you yourself as an organization or a founder or a top executive at your nonprofit start your own? This is about you. I need to remind you that this is about you right now as an organization. It's not about your program. How are you improving your own system to ensure that as you move, as you grow, you're offering your services, your programs even more efficiently, attracting the right partners, showing more value, more efficient use of resources in there. So these are a bit of some of our courses for you to go through with it. And I want to give some more time so that we can go through, I can respond to questions. Now, this is what we call the Microsoft Advanced Certification courses. What does this mean? It means that you can take courses that are unique to Microsoft. So when you get the Microsoft Nonprofits Tool Grant, it means that some of this or most of the tools and applications there are unique to Microsoft. So it means that you cannot begin to build a talent within yourself to be specialized on specific application or tools that are unique to Microsoft that will help you utilize the tool grant. So this is building that skill for you too. So when you've gotten it, it's just like when you buy a phone, or remember the days of Blackberries, when you get your Blackberry and you see some people, they only buy Blackberry and they chat. Some people don't use email. Some people use email and chat. Some people don't understand the full potential of just that small device, even our nowadays Android phones. So this is the same thing with the grant too. When you get the grant, yes, you've gotten the grant. What next? How do you utilize it? How do you impute data? Right? How do you utilize your Excel sheet even more? How do you add AI to all these things you're doing? As you know, AI is no longer news, but how do you really utilize AI in there? So for instance, you're using a Microsoft Word and then you're using AI on Microsoft Word. How do you use it? How do you prompt? So these are things that we need to start thinking about. It's not just, oh, we have Microsoft Nonprofit Cloud, Office 365, but how are you? How's your staff using it? You as the CEO, the founder of the nonprofit, how are you utilizing it? You know, there's a saying that, oh, with the emergence of AI right now, a lot of CEOs or top executives don't have to rely on their team for certain things because they can simply ask AI and put things together. So it means that even team, you know, of nonprofit or even for profit organizations, everybody needs to upskill as quickly as possible, because if you are not providing value to your leadership or to your CEOs or your supervisors, then it means that you need to do some good work. And all these resources are available at no cost for you to begin that journey. So the journey for your organization is there, but for journey for the individual, the founder, your staff, your team, your volunteers is also important. Everybody needs to get really into the fact of transforming an organization. Transforming an organization is not just buying, for instance, it's not just buying your table and chairs or your internet in the office. You have to use that to show that you are actually using it to provide value for your stakeholders, your partners, even your employees or your staff in there. So these are just a few resources. So some of the things that can come with what it is to begin your training or your digitalization journey is unlimited access to content and learning platform for yourself, for your organization and your programs, certifications, and then facilitations as well. If you want to facilitate programs with us, they're also there. Opportunity to track and report with ease, particularly with the Microsoft community training platform. And then, of course, trainer capacity building. We need to build that ecosystem. Everybody is now into training. If you notice, for-profit organization, they all have one mentorship program, one training program. Everybody is chipping in because of where we are in Africa and in Nigeria, and that does not exclude non-profit organizations. And then we have vouchers for the advanced learning opportunities as well if you want to get to the highest level. So I want you to imagine this. Imagine a world where they are tech experts in non-profits, no matter how small you are. When you see small businesses and startups, they say, oh, we have a tech person. Oh, let's talk about tech. We should be at that level as well. And we need to build that expertise where we can speak the same tech languages as the for-profit organization. And I believe that when we get there, we can do our work a lot more better, easier. We can get funding that we need because technology is there to enable. I don't think anybody that knows that you're using technology to increase your impact or scale, and they will not want to support you. Building that capacity alone is not easy, but by the time you do it and it's recognized, nothing is going to stop you. Nothing is going to stop you. But I also want to mention that whatever challenges you have as a nonprofit in Nigeria is not limited to just you. It's also global. There's a lot of nonprofits across the world who are facing the same kind of challenges as you as a nonprofit organization. I'm not talking Nigeria or Africa. They are the same factors. In Canada, I hear that Canada has one of the highest rate of volunteer movement support fundraising. Right now, it's dwindling because of inflation rates. People are cutting down on their costs, on their expenses. They are managing themselves. So a lot of nonprofits can't even see volunteers to hire. So it means that manpower is being stretched. It means they can't do as much as they want to do. They can't go to a lot of community that needs help. So these things, there are a lot of things that are shared challenges within the sector globally, and it does not exclude you. But with technology, you could do more. So if you don't have people to volunteer for you physically or raise funds here, you can raise funds on Benefiti across the world. And you don't know who these people are most of the time. And you get those funding because of how well you portray yourself online, how well you talk about the cause, how well you talk about the beneficiaries and the lives you want to change, how well you talk about the community in which you want to transform. I think those things are also important. So at this point, I think I've gone through my slide. I hope I'm on time. And I will stop here for questions and just give you a bit of a platform that will give you a picture, a snapshot picture of how it looks when you want to start your digitalization journey in getting verified to have 2 grants from Microsoft to begin this journey. Thank you very much. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Audrey.
Oyi, and while you get the questions,
you.
let me just pop that on the screen so that they view it and we'll take the next stage. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. There's a lot to unpack from your session, and thank you for all of these insights that you've given to us. Yes, indeed, these contents are available, like you said, and the onus is on us as civil society organizations to now begin to engage this content and get the skills that are required to be able to use them. Thank you so much, Audrey. We already have some questions here in the Q&A area. Okay, so participants that would like to ask questions, please use the Q&A button, type in your questions, and we will try to answer as fast or as quick as we can. The first question here that is unanswered is, how can the Niger Delta Progressive Youth Leadership Foundation benefit from this wonderful opportunity as a nonprofit? How can we be a partnership? How can our organization be involved in the volunteer support from Microsoft Employees Engagement Program? Did you get that, Audrey? So that's the first question. There's a bunch of other questions here already as well. So we're encouraging participants to just use the Q&A button. We will try to answer. This session is going to last for about 10 to 15 minutes. So okay. Audrey can answer 5 questions.
All right. So the first is, how can them in Delta State take advantage of the volunteer opportunity? So first thing is for you to start your journey. This is what it looks like. And what I try to do is screenshot or show you live of what page, because I talked about cybersecurity, understanding what is real and what is fake and what is a true link. So the link is nonprofit.microsoft.com. And I'm sure there's more. I know there's a journey. Sometimes this journey can be very tasking because it's not what we're used to. So sometimes you need a bit of guidance. And I think Sterling One Foundation is going to share with you what those next steps will be like, where we can handhold some of you, expose you more into the details of it. So if you look at this screen now, it says get started with your nonprofit tech to move your mission forward. Save on Microsoft solution, including Azure, Dynamics 365, Microsoft 365, and more. So there's a whole lot. So you see there's an eligibility pre-check so that you can check whether you meet the criteria. And if should you meet the criteria, then you can begin. So it means your email, all those things that if you're already paying for it, you can get it for free. The only thing is that you need to have a domain name, which is important. So if you have a domain name, it's a lot easier so that you can have .your NGO .com or .org. It's important. Otherwise, you're going to be having at onmicrosoftaccount.com either way. But nothing is wrong about that. But it just gives you an opportunity to start that journey. If you're a registered nonprofit and you have your CSC, you are almost as qualified to get this, but you still need to be verified because the checks need to be done, and that is done by a TechSoup, a third-party partner who's a verification partner for not just Microsoft, but a lot of tech organizations. So know that if you pass that verification, you are also having access to a whole lot more resources in there. So you can start that journey. If you're not, I think we're looking to host, we're open to hosting a few, but that is with the preference of Sterling One Foundation. If you're not in Lagos, in Lagos, I think there are other opportunities that Sterling One Foundation will also share with the community. What's our next question? Oh, is there a Q? Okay, there's a Q&A.
Yeah. The next question is, where and how do we get access? Can we access
to the Microsoft Office Cloud? Yes, there is a link. Yes, there is a link. I would share that link with you in the chat, and you can begin that journey on your own as well. What I would recommend is when you begin this journey, don't do it alone. Even if you're the founder, find somebody who has the most tech experience or has tech interest so that you can do it together, because it's almost like opening a bank account. If you're not sure of the bank details or the bank you are using or the process, then you can't access some of these resources. So it's important that you find somebody that will always be with that organization for as long as possible, whether it's the founder, but you give other people some rights to have access to it, or everybody have access to it and you limit rights to that, so that when one person goes, because I know we have very high attrition rate in the nonprofit sector, they don't go with the knowledge and the experience as well. So it's important to carry along your team. Then how can one be eligible for the certification? You have to take those courses. When you take them, then you get to the end. And when you do that, I hope that, Sterling One Foundation can lead this, because it's actually a scaling journey. So when you go through, but you have to go through our programs at Philanthropy, which SOF will tell you how to get about it. And if you're interested, I'm sure they will put a program together where we can take you through that journey and you can get certified to get those vouchers. The vouchers are limited, but it also depends on how quickly you do those courses, which shows that you're committed to actually getting those skills. What are the cost implications of this training? They are totally free, no cost at all. So this is basically our CSR at Philanthropies, and this is not just unique to us. The idea is that every organization can take advantage of it as well. And we have a lot of large international development organization, local organization within Nigeria that have taken advantage of these resources. The only thing is that the more your organization grow, maybe I think about maybe 50 employees or more, then you begin to pay a discounted price. But I think there's still a lot of resources to use before getting to that level. But I don't think that's a challenge, but it's actually free. Most of the trainings, all of the trainings are free. How can ecosystem organization, that's, I think I've lost myself here. Okay, how can ecosystem organization like social capital partner with Microsoft to provide ecosystem support? So this is a tricky question, and what I would recommend is that the tools are already there for you to work with. It's not limited. This app is available to everyone. But if you want to work with us, I suggest you reach out to Sterling One Foundation, and they will guide you on how that will be. They're a very strong partner of Microsoft brand, and they will definitely recommend how you can go about this. Then who pays the $25 on volunteering, the volunteer or the organization? The organization that the employee is volunteering for. They can only have access to that platform when you're an employee of the organization that is on the Benefiti platform. So that is basically automated, because when they are done, they have to document the number of hours they volunteered with you. So it's important to do that. But why is this important? I'm a very huge advocate of volunteerism, and that is how I started my career in the nonprofit space, where, you know, if you can value the number of hours and expertise that is brought to your organization, that is a huge fundraising strategy, to be honest. So please don't undermine what kind of model you meet there. Learn the system, how they apply it within your organization as well. Please share a link to the website. You will be getting that. How can business benefit from the opportunity? We have all our documents and domain name. Oh, you just need to start by clicking and get verified. That's all. It takes about 2 weeks to get verified, 2 weeks or less, and you'll be on the platform. Microsoft in countries like Gambia is available globally. Any country can take advantage of it. When can one start the course? You can start now if you want to. Are there any other questions I have missed?
Yes, it looks like, okay, so there's just one question. How can one start the course?
Yes, you can start now, but I recommend that Sterling One Foundation is going to, because they want to bring the best of their services to you within their network. So they are going to be coming to you with when that would start, when the course will start, because it would be great that you are guided. The self-paced option is there, is available for you to use. But then when something programmatized in a way, to go through a journey, right? And we know that you need a lot of encouragement and motivation and incentive to finish these courses. The idea of having things online is so that people can go at their pace. You can do it at any time and anywhere you are, but you cannot undermine the importance of community, doing something with a group, which means you go faster, there's peer-to-peer learning, there's motivation, you learn different ways in which to implement a particular solution that different people might come up with, but you know, the product remains the same. So I tell people products are, is a catalyst, sort of, you know, an enabler. You know, what we're bringing doesn't change. It's just how do you use it to change? There's not enough time. I would have shown you a lot of case studies of how people have used some of our solutions, but I can drop some links there. And particularly, I didn't get enough time to talk about AI. AI is something that is extremely interesting. Hopefully, some of the subsequent sessions, we're going to dive into that to see how you can use that from your day-to-day, especially Office 365, our co-pilots and things like that. But also, our courses on generative AI and AI can expose you to those ideas so that even if you find them in other tools besides Microsoft platform, you know how to use it to your own benefits and for your programs.
Thank you so much, Audrey. We've exhausted all the questions. There's just one last one. Can you quickly respond to this one? Do I need a website to do this? So somebody's asking if they require a website.
No, you don't need a website. Apparently, even our cloud platform, which is called Azure. So Azure, when we're talking about cloud, the cloud, the name for cloud in Microsoft is called Azure. So anytime you hear Azure, understand that it is it's cloud what we're talking about. And under that interface, you can create a web page for yourself, like a landing page, like the way you have okay, let me make an example because I know it's more common with our competitor. Google My Business, right? Google My Business page. You can create something similar on Azure there. There's a template and there's everything. So if you don't have a website, you can actually create different landing page for your programs, for your partners. You know, there are a lot of things you could do with it, but you need to learn those skills to take advantage of it, or raise funds to hire people who have the skills to help you create those things for you. So if you have a page, that's not a problem. If you have a website, that's not a problem. Easy means that you have a domain name is also easier. But if you don't, you can create a page for you to interact and tell your stories and all that. And also it will be an easy plug and play with all the different applications that can help you present yourself more, do your work more efficiently, interpret your data, visualize your data, your storytelling, your research, everything that you need to do.
Thank you, Audrey, for such a wonderful and insightful session. We're really, really grateful that you took the time to go through all of this. And yeah, definitely we'll be coming back to you with some other questions as the program progresses. And let's go straight to the second session. Abdul Salam Badamasi is already in the room. Mr. Badamasi, good morning. Thank you for joining. This session is themed Designing, Delivering High-Impact Solutions, and it aims to examine the optimal methodology for finding efficient solutions to the complex problems NGOs are facing. And it includes identifying, understanding, framing, scaling, I beg your pardon, and prioritizing sustainable solutions. Mr. Badamasi is a veteran in the civil society space. He has 18 years experience working in the CSO space in project management, communications, and policy advocacy. He is skilled in governmental engagement, private sector collaboration, and fostering relations with CSOs in Nigeria and across Africa. We're so excited to have you delivering this topic, sir. Mr. Badamasi, can you hear me? Are you ready for us?
Yes, Oyindamola, thank you very much. I doubted if I was yes, I doubted if I was one that wrote all this. I get a bit nervous when people talk about someone being a veteran in this space, because I believe everybody is a veteran depending on experiences and so on. Thank you very much, Oyindamola, for this introduction. First of all, I apologize for coming in a bit late. I've been juggling a lot of things. And then secondly, you might realize that my camera, I have two cameras on. The first one doesn't seem to work. That's the one on my laptop. So I believe I have a bug in it. Anyway, that's it. So, you know, I think it's very important for us to really, first of all, understand in terms of what we are talking about, especially designing high impact solution. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to share a lot of, you know, anecdotes in terms of, you know, how we design solutions and so on. And I'm going to start with the problem statement itself. It's very, very important for us to be able to identify what the problem is. And identifying what the problem is requires about, you know, three things. First of all, doing your needs assessments, then identifying the root causes, and also aligning those solutions with your mission. So now let me just give you a bit of an example in terms of, you know, the problem, first of all, defining the problem, and also trying to see how you can be able to design solutions that are going to be more or less like beneficiary fit per se. That means something that is relevant for the beneficiaries. So first of all, you have to understand to walk in the shoes of your beneficiaries. And like I used to always share when I'm having this kind of lectures, I remember very well, a couple of years back, I think maybe 10 or is it 15 years or 11 years back, I had an assignment to do a baseline survey in about close to 18 states across the country. And I felt, you know what, why don't you just do a little social experiment? So I decided to go, I started to come out of my hotel, and then I'll see someone that really needs some kind of help. And I'll call the person and I'll tell the person, hey, you know what? Could you just go and buy something for me? Maybe it could be a granite or it could be banana or something. And funny enough, you know, I'll give you money that is beyond what I've already asked you to go and buy. And I sampled about, I think 17 people. Out of that 17 people, only 8 came back. And out of that 8 that came back, I did ask them, why did you come back with my money when you don't know me and you don't know? I mean, you can easily go away with my money. You can easily go away without having to bring back what I told you to go and buy. And you can also easily not come back without giving me back my change, because certainly you need this money and so on. Most of them did give me the example or give me the reason that, you know, it's because of their own upbringing. It's because of they fear God. It's because they think I'm a good man, or because they thought I was going to test them. So there's going to be a higher reward for them to go back. But none of them did tell me that because I'm afraid the law will catch up with me. So what that means is that, you know, while we as Nigerians, we understand that the system to some extent does not really stand up for us in terms of our rights, or in terms of maybe protecting us from some kind of evil within the system, or some kind of, you know, crime, for example. There's every possibility that if I had done this experiment, maybe in systems that do work, they will tell me that, you know what, I'm afraid the cops will come after me. And that really helped us, because what I was doing at that time, the baseline study I was doing at that time in those states, was to design a behavior change communication strategy that was focused on looking at how we can change behaviors of people around corruption and so on. So now, if you look at it carefully, if now I have not done that little social experiment research, most of our targeted messages, or the messages we would have been able to frame for our audiences, especially the audiences that are at that class level, are going to be messages that might be wrong. Because what the insight I got from that little social experiment was that you cannot be able to send messages or craft or design messages that are targeting deterrence. And also that deterrence, saying that police is going to catch up with you when you're corrupt, or maybe the law enforcement will catch up with you when you're corrupt, because nobody even believes in the law enforcement and so on. So that's just a bit of what I wanted to share in terms of understanding the problem, because what this says is that as an NGO, mostly you're running from pillar to post, trying to see how you can be able to get some kind of funding, from donor organizations and so on. And sometimes you may feel that you don't even have the resources, or you don't even have the wherewithal to be able to do a needs assessment, to be able to understand and define problems. And I think I like what Audrey had said and what she had shared. There are a lot of information that exists and a lot of data that exists, already in the world. And when you go to Google, you'll be able to see quite a lot. And of course, if you go to some of these Microsoft communities, you'll be able to see quite a lot of data. And again, there are some instances in which you can be able to run your research by, having little investment into the kind of things that you want to do to be able to ideate and also identify the problems. So another thing, again, that is very, very important is around crafting effective solutions. And you see, most times what we also sometimes do not, we forget, is that every single solution already exists in this world. All you need to do is to be able to find it and be creative. I remember, for example, and that is why when it comes to programming, especially in the development sector, you will see donor organizations saying that we need to collaborate more, we need to adapt more, and we need to learn from each other. And what does that mean? It means that there is already a recognition that everything is already there and most of the things exist. But what you need to do is you learn, and then you be creative, and then you innovate on that solution. And that's quite true. If you look at it, for instance, the history of the world, from 1800 to 1900, the world struggled to get to 1 billion people. But in the next 100 years, that is from 1900 to 2000, the world got up to about 6 billion. That means we multiplied by 6 times. It means that the human race was much healthier. The human race was more prosperous. The human race was more successful. There was less wars, although you might argue that. And certainly what that means is that there were a lot more solutions to everyday problems. So what I'm trying to say here is that whatever you're going to do, try as much as possible to, first of all, look around and see what best practice is. Best practice is not Latin. It is not very big English. What is best practice? Has someone done this? Okay, someone has done this. And of course, it has already proved to be successful. That's just it. And once you're able to look at and say, okay, this solution has been successful, and I think I would need to also adopt this kind of strategy, or adopt this kind of strategy to be able to provide this kind of solution, you're going to really get far. You don't really have to think hard. You don't have to be a rocket scientist before you can be able to do that. And of course, like I said, don't be afraid to innovate. Like they say, if you don't innovate, you will die. I remember I read somewhere that Facebook have an innovation hub or innovation think tank where they sit down to discuss the next big thing or the next product that they are going to do. And one of the things they did was they came together and said, okay, let us develop or design a product that is going to kill Facebook. And after they really brainstormed and thought about it, they came to a solution, and that solution already existed. And that solution was Instagram. They said that there's a product that already exists that is going to kill Facebook, because they really Instagram is really regretting, selling to Facebook. So what this story tells us What this story really tells us is that we can innovate innovation is about survival. Innovation is about sustainability. Innovation is about taking advantage of the future and also, being part of the next big thing. And then design, as we all know, design with scalability, basically means being efficient. If you require a lot of money and a lot of resources to be able to sustain your project, then that means there's going to be a hell lot of problem for you, which you really have to look into. And then, as they say, rinse and repeat. So, in terms of putting your plan into action, and I really like to share this. What you normally do is when you're putting your plan into action, try and be as personal as possible. For example, if I'm going to go to Kano now, of course, I'm even going to Kano in a few hours from here. If I'm going to go to Kano now, am I just going to close my eyes and then I'll see myself in Kano? No, that's not what I'm going to do. I first of all have to maybe book my ticket. I have to wake up early. I have to get dressed. I have to then get into the car and then start going to the airport, and I fly to Kano. So those little things that I do can be seen, as little tasks that are helping me to achieve my objectives, because my objective is to get to Kano. However, I can also get to Kano by road. I can also get to Kano by trekking. If I'm going to get to Kano by trekking, there's every possibility that I might not get to Kano until maybe after 4 or 5 days, or I might never get to Kano. I might be in a kidnapper's den for another 10 months and so on, God forbid anyway. But that's what I'm trying to say here. You have to be realistic. You have to be strategic in terms of how you design your plan to action. And then you also have to look inward, and you have to be very, very reflective. And, employing effective communication strategy is very important. And I know Audrey mentioned this. We don't know how to tell our stories. It's extremely important for us to understand how to tell our stories. Telling our stories is beyond just writing flowery English and good English. Telling our stories also has to do with how you connect with your audience emotionally. And that is what most of these big brands have done, like MTN, like Sterling Bank, like all the other commercial enterprises. That's what they have done very well. They have been able to utilize the power of communication to be able to sell products to some people. I mean, sometimes that they sell products to you that you don't even need, because they were able to connect with you. And the basic ingredient for connection with any audience is the emotional connection. If you're able to weave your stories and develop your story in an emotional way and in a way that will connect with the individual that you're trying to talk to, believe me, you already have that person almost over like maybe 70%. You've won that person. However, designing this kind of emotional communication strategies that will connect with people is also something that you have to be very careful with in terms of embedding it with evidence and so on. And let me just give you an example of how the private sector do this. I don't know, maybe most of you must have seen this advert of Lipton, where you have the father and son in a carpentry shop, trying to bring together a furniture. If you look at it, you wonder what brought Lipton, that is tea, with a carpenter and a husband and a father and a son. What brought them together? Why? Who even thought of saying that I'm going to use that kind of character or scenario to be able to sell tea? I mean, the connection is far, but because we are humans and we love good stories and we love emotional stories, like seeing a father and son working together to craft something, we instantly connect with it, right? And that is what it matters, really. And that's what matters. And, you'll see a lot of banks, for example, when they're trying to sell their products to you, they don't advertise their products telling you that, okay, this year we made a profit of 2 billion or 3 billion. No, they don't do that. All they do is they tell you that if you bank with us, you're going to be able to pay your school fees, you're going to be able to own a house, and you're also going to be able to have good insurance and so on and so forth, or have money to have good insurance. Those are emotional things that connect to your well-being and so on. Numbers, data, yeah, it's okay. You can always do that. But then you also have to look into how to tell very good and compelling stories with data. And then monitoring and evaluation is very important. I cannot overemphasize this. It's so important to the point that, you know, if you're unable to measure, if you're unable to measure your work, you cannot be able to evaluate your performance. And if you cannot evaluate your performance, you cannot be able to measure your impact. And it is becoming extremely important because the development space is becoming as constricted as, it's becoming so tight, it's becoming so constricted because, number one, you have many NGOs. And apart from having a lot of NGOs, now you have a lot of donors that are withdrawing most of their funding. So funding is drying up, and then you have a lot of NGOs. So right now, as we speak, the demand side is much higher than what the supply side can be able to provide. So what that means is that development partners now are going just beyond saying that, okay, I can be able to do this, they give you money to do that. No, now what they are talking about is your past performance, your past record. Have you been able to implement this? Have you been able to develop this? What are your successes? Have you been able to pass some laws and policies? Have you been able to change the lives of people? Have you been able to bring some kind of change that is sustainable and so on? That is what they are now talking about. And if you don't have this at your fingertips, how to be able to tell your stories, how to be able to tell how well you have done in the past, then to some extent, you know, you might just kiss the grant goodbye. So those are some of the things that I think are very important. And just to mention, I mean, background in terms of development and NGOs, way back when USAID were fairly new in Nigeria, about 30, 35, 40 years ago. And of course, the FID, which is now FCD, all those bilateral agreements. What normally used to happen at that time is they would have to look for NGOs to work. And afterwards, you know, the NGOs started knowing that, okay, there's actually money in this. So they apply to get the jobs. Afterwards, these guys say, okay, you know what, why don't we just pull out a call for proposal and then we get people to apply and we give it to them. And even at that, they could not be able to meet up with the demand. They said, you know what, let us be able to make sure that whatever you are proposing to us, even if we are going to give you, you have to show us that there's some certain level of progress. After that, they said, no, it is even getting too much. Now let us tighten it and let us increase the criteria. And that is where I am coming to in terms of measuring impact. And they said, you know what, you just have to give us your performance or your track record before you can be able to, you know, before we can be able to give you our money, evidence that you have done this and it has worked. And then, yes, I think building a better future together is very, very necessary. You see, the more we collaborate, the better for us mostly, and the more we innovate. Let me give you an example. I think Not Too Young to Run, if I'm not mistaken, was started by Yaga. But Yaga was able to utilize its partnership and also its collaboration with a lot of individuals, civil society organizations, associations, and so on to push the Not Too Young to Run bill to fruition. I'm thinking that if Yaga had, you know, championed this all by itself, I don't think it would have been able to get that bill passed on time. I'm not saying they might not get it passed and so on. And, you know, it's similar to the VAP Act. The VAP Act did not, if you look at how the VAP Act was passed and the story of the VAP Act, there was not a single organization that identified itself and say, look, I am the owner of this VAP bill, so I'm the one that is going to be championing it till it get passed. No, a lot of organizations, a lot of civil society came together and there was an uproar on getting this passed. And now, apart from it being passed at the federal level, it has been passed at the state level and so on, like the Child Rights Act and so on, and even the Petroleum Industry Act, that is the PIB or PIA. A lot of organizations also did come together. So what this tells you is that if you don't collaborate, you may cease to exist. If you don't collaborate, you are certainly not going to be able to meet some of your objectives. So the more the merrier, as they say. And I think this is the last slide. Thank you. Q&A, right? Ohindamola, is that where we're headed?
Yes, Q&A. Thank you, Mr. Badamasi. So, okay, it looks like we don't have any questions yet. If you have any questions, please use the Q&A button, type your questions, and we'll read out to answer. It looks like some participants already sent questions in the chat. I will do a quick run through to be sure that we didn't miss any. Okay, no, we haven't missed any questions.
Okay, so that means I can.
Yes, sir. We will allow you take a few minutes, and if we have any questions at some point as we
Okay,
continue the program,
yeah,
we will
I
call
can
out.
hold on a bit. I can hold on a bit for
Okay.
questions. No problem.
Okay. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. While we're doing that, let me call on Ms. Ibekwe to do a brief on Giving, Sterling Cares, and the ESG series as we await questions from participants. So whenever questions come in, we will just call out to you, sir, and you can respond.
Yeah, I think there's a question here, but no problem. Maybe when she
Oh,
continues.
okay.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, great. Okay. Yes. There's one now. Yes, sir.
How does a new organization show evidence without any support? So the thing is this, there are many ways to skin a cat. You don't have to when you don't have evidence of past performance, for example, then you should be able to identify the problem that is so compelling, so relevant that any donor that sees it knows that this is something that is also going to, help them achieve their objectives. Truth is that most donors are really looking for excellent partners. Unfortunately, nobody is excellent, but you just have to put your best foot forward. So yes, if you don't have support to provide evidence, or you have not been given any support to show that you have a track record, then you should be able to identify a problem that is compelling enough for the donor to be convinced that they want to invest in you. And that is how it is. Yeah. So,
okay. So for now, that's the only question, and the response has been provided. Ms. Bekwe, are you ready for
Yes,
your
I am.
session? Very quickly. All right, ma'am.
Yes, I am. Thank you, Oyindamola, and thank you so much, Audrey and Badamasi. I have definitely learned a lot today, and I can also see from the comments and the chat room that most of our participants have really learned a lot today. I wanted to reconfirm, Badamasi, did you say you had to leave?
yeah, I have to leave in the next 5 minutes. I don't know if
okay, if that's the case, can the speakers all show their video? Let's quickly take a picture.
Okay.
Yemi said nobody is excellent, including donors. That is why donors lead you. They need you to add the excellence to their work. Because I can have money, but if I'm not able to deliver value, and that is why we need the non-profit organizations and implementers. So we have everybody's video on. Can you please just confirm, technical team, can you please help me confirm once the picture has been taken?
It has, thanks.
I think they're all. Thank you very much. Thank you. Badamosi, thank you so much for joining us, and we wish you a safe trip to Kano.
Yeah, thank you very much. And also, I heard someone saying that they want the slides to be shared. I mean, it's at your discount, ma'am.
No, definitely. The slides for this session will be shared with every participant.
Okay.
Every participant that registered with their email addresses, the slides, and also the link to this recording will be shared with you via email. Thank you so much, Madam Asi.
All right, thank you. Bye.
So, thank you. Thank you very much. So I will quickly be sharing with us a few things about Sterling One Foundation. And this is for the benefit of those that are meeting us for the first time, or those that basically a refresher on who we are, what we do, and why we do what we do. Sterling One Foundation was established in 2018 by Sterling Bank as a vehicle for positive social impact across 5 sectors of the economy. And we have a separate board of trustees and have prioritized social impact investments across our sectors of focus. And these are health education, food security, gender equality and women development, and climate action. With reference to our topic today, which is about leveraging digital solutions for scale, I would like to share with you about the Giving.ng solution. I'm sure those that have been attending our webinars in the past already know about Giving. But then let me share with you some information about Giving.ng. Giving.ng is Africa's first free and the only crowdfunding platform that gives grants for social impact on it. I want to establish first and foremost that anybody can raise funds on Giving.ng. As an individual, you can raise funds on Giving.ng. And that is with reference to the participant who asked, but I must say a question on what would happen if you've not done any project. You can leverage Giving.ng to raise funds for whatever projects you want to execute. Of course, you have to leverage your crowd, and that is the essence of crowdfunding, getting a lot of people to support your project. But now it is digital, so you're leveraging that platform to raise funds from people within Nigeria and outside Nigeria that are interested in supporting your cause. The service on Giving.ng is free, totally free. Nothing is charged. So if anything is taken, it's going to probably be from the payments gateway, and those fees do not come to the Giving platform at all. Apart from being free, users of the platform can get up to ₦1 million in grants, and users can include individuals, NGOs, like we have in the room, associations, churches, mosques, corporate organizations, SMEs, and of course, state, local governments can also benefit from the platform. For individuals, you can get access to a rich database of donors, provided they are interested in your cause. Volunteers can also support your cause when it comes to execution of your cause. For if you're just starting out as an NGO, you may not need to start hiring staff immediately. You may leverage Giving.ng and its volunteer base. And of course, you can raise funds for social impact projects. NGOs can raise their funds from donors anywhere across the globe. And they can also access the same things individual can access, network of donors and grants, additional funding. And we can also project your initiative on our own platforms. These are examples of beneficiaries of the grants on Giving.ng, project sometime in the past. We've had Kilawi, also her Angel for Life NGO has benefited from the grants on Giving.ng in the past. This was I've forgotten the name of the school, but it's a free school in Abuja, NFI school, Not Forgotten Initiative. Yes, that's the name of the school. Not Forgotten Initiative School, Abuja, has also been a beneficiary of grants from Giving.ng. How do you qualify for the completion grants on Giving.ng? We call them completion grants because we use it to help you complete your fundraiser. So these funds are not given to you at the beginning of your fundraiser, no. So assuming you want to raise ₦500,000 on Giving.ng and you've succeeded in raising 300,000 naira from maybe 50 donors if you're a member of the Nigerian network of NGOs, or 100 donors, and you need 200,000 naira to balance it up, Giving.ng can give you that as a grant to a maximum of #1 million. Sectors that can access grants include health education, food security, renewable energy. You need to, of course, we will do due diligence checks on anyone who is going to be benefiting from the Giving.ng grant. And of course, we expect a detailed report post execution. Corporates can benefit from this. Employee giving can also be leveraged on this platform, and governments also can benefit from this. We already have the Lagos State Ekusha solution on Giving.ng, and I already mentioned governments. Also, we want to tell you about Africa's first free banking solution for NGOs. And this was established in partnership with the Nigerian network of NGOs and Sterling Bank, because we believe that the work you do is way too important. Rather than take charges from you, I think we should be giving you more money to do the work you're doing. And this is just a way that we're using to support the development ecosystem. You can get all the information on this solution, this free banking solution, on www.sterling.ng/cares. It's called Awuf Banking for NGOs. This was just to communicate the importance or the feature of the product, which is zero charges. You're not charged anything on the product. And I think if you're charged anything, maybe SMS charges, which goes to the telcos, not the bank. So we want you to do more good with what you have, hence these free banking solution. And you can also get access to internet service, so you can access your account and monitor it from anywhere. The requirements for the account opening are on the screen. Like I mentioned before, you can get all the information on this product on sterling.ng/cares, and you can actually start the account opening also online. Today, everyone is trying to leverage digital solutions to scale impact. And I think using your laptop or your phone from anywhere, you can actually start the account opening process online if you are interested in getting the benefits of Sterling Cares. Finally, I would like to implore everyone on this call, in view of what we have heard from both Badamosi and Audrey, I would recommend that it is not just about getting these learnings. We should all endeavor to execute whatever project we are prioritizing brilliantly. Leverage these digital solutions that Audrey has shared with us to use to monitor and measure the impact we are delivering. Intentionally be visible and tell your story on social media. Social media is also a digital platform that can be leveraged. And finally, today we have AI, we have social media, we have some Microsoft solutions, but I am certain it will not stop here. Let us all also be intentional about having a digital mindset. So whatever it is that comes up in the future that can support the work we do, help us to scale our work much more effectively and efficiently. Let us be the first to start using those solutions, because eventually it will definitely reduce our costs, increase our impact, increase the opportunities we have to get additional funding to scale the work we do. And while it is supporting every individual and every NGO in this room, we're hoping for it to also have multiplier effect on the Nigerian ecosystem of development and the African development ecosystem. And that will be all from me for now. Thank you so much to our moderator, Oyindamola. Thank you also to the Nigerian network of NGOs, the entire body. Thank you to Audrey, and thank you so much, Badamosi, who has had to leave us before the end of this session. And finally, thank you to all our delegates that have joined us from across the globe. You will get the slides and the video recording to help you scale the work you do. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Madam Ibekwe. There's one question for you, and I beg that you quickly respond before we close. I'm trying to open a corporate account for my NGO, but the requirements seem to be overwhelming. It's a comment, but if you would like to quickly respond for the person.
Okay, so what I would like to quickly establish is we've gotten some of these complaints in the past. But we have realized that the requirements for account opening are actually not determined by even the banks. They are determined by the Central Bank of Nigeria, different compliance bodies that we have in the country. The requirements are actually to protect the financial system, to reduce fraud, and just to verify that these NGOs duly exist and are doing the work they claim to be doing. You can send us a message on sterling.ng/cares, and we're going to let our partner, the bank, know for them to see how they can support your process, hold your hand to ensure that it's as seamless as possible for you. Most of the requirements they insist on, usually most NGOs already have them, because we have NGOs that are partners that have already opened this account. So let's see how our partners can support to help make this process as seamless as possible for you. Just send a message on sterling.ng/cares. I'm seeing additional
Mrs.
questions
Idekwe, and thank
here.
you to everybody.
I'm seeing a few more questions here. I can see a
Yes, we
question
have
from
some time.
Abidemi Adegoke. Are there available trainings you can recommend for writing compelling stories about the works of NGO? At this point, I know we have done a storytelling training at the Sterling One Foundation in the past. I would recommend you check us out on YouTube and check our past trainings. You will be able to find a video there that you can listen to as a refresher course. I'm not sure, but I think you could also find a training as one of the Microsoft solutions that Audrey had shared with us. But that video, we have done a training on that in the past, and you can find on our YouTube. I encourage everyone in the room to follow us on our social media handles. You find us at Sterling One Foundation or at One Foundation on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. So whenever we're having our next session, you will be the first to know and to be able to register to participate in that session. You can also follow at Giving.ng on social media to get information on the work they're doing and how you can partner with them. And that's for Abidemi Adegoke. For Sunday Acha, what's your solution for startup NGOs approach to collaboration with donors? Realistically, just like a new business, as if we were investors, we're unlikely to just invest in a new business when we are not sure if that business can deliver return on investment. That is why the major way of getting funding, if you're starting up a business or even a non-profit organization or a social enterprise, is usually the 3 Fs: the fools, family, and friends. So my recommendation, the fools can also be part of your donors. Family members can be part of your donors as a startup, and friends can be part of your donors as a startup. As you grow, garner experience and garner success stories to establish your track record, then we can start talking about bigger international donors. Is Sterling Cares different from the known Sterling Bank? Sterling Cares is a financial product, free banking for NGOs, that provides free banking for NGOs. It's a product. It is not a bank, but it was established by Sterling One Foundation, Nigeria Network of NGOs, and Sterling Bank. That's for Omotayo Adebayo. With 5 trustees, how many signatories should we have in their account? I imagine it's usually maximum of, it can be up to minimum of 3 trustees and upwards. Go to sterling.ng/cares and the bank will let you know all that they need. Can small for-profits benefit from Sterling support for their non-profit projects? I mentioned earlier that yes, small for-profit organization or all for-profit organizations can raise funds on Giving.ng and access the grants that are available on Giving.ng, provided what the project is funding is an impact-related project. Can an organization raise funds on Giving without bringing registered without being registered yet with CAC? Then it will not be an organization, it's an individual that can raise funds on Giving.ng. So the promoter can raise those funds because without registration, because Giving.ng also does due diligence on registered fundraisers on the platform to ensure the platform remains trustworthy over time. So if you are not registered with the CAC, then it's better you just raise the funds as an individual. The Sterling Bank branch, okay. So Tosin Makinde, can you please put your number and your details on the chat group? So one of the team members would reach out to you and connect you with whoever it is that is for them to speed up this process. Yes, Sterling Bank is different from the alternative bank. No, we do not give grants to corporate organizations. Grants are available on Giving.ng for fundraisers as finishing grants. And on that note, I think I have responded to all the questions here.
Indeed, you have, ma'am. Thank you for taking the time to go through the questions one after the other and to respond. Thank you to everyone that has stayed on for this session, for sending in your questions, and I hope that we've been able to answer them in the best way that we can. With that, we have come to the end of the edition of this series for this quarter. We ask that you look out for the marketing for the next edition. That is supposed to come up in the second quarter of the year, the end of the second quarter of the year. So kindly be on the lookout, register and attend as you have always done. Thank you for taking the time and for always answering when we call. It has been a pleasure attending the session and moderating the session with you all in attendance. Bye for now and do enjoy the rest of your day. We look forward to seeing more of you in subsequent editions of the series. Bye.
Thanks, bye.
Bye.